Hello and welcome to the Bond Revisited podcast with me, Tom.
And me, Joe.
So it's time for something a little bit different. You're probably expecting me to talk about Sweaty Sean, and then Joe will be like, oh, Sweaty Sean, and then we get distracted for about 2 minutes. And there's going to be plenty of time for Sweaty Sean, absolutely. But we're going to be doing something a bit different. I guess this is the start of a new era for the podcast. Is that... Are you okay with me committing to that, Joe?
I think that's a little bit too grandiose sounding.
Okay. New chapter?
Yeah, chapter. I like that.
New paragraph?
No, chapter. We'll go chapter.
We'll go new chapter, yeah. So, of course, we started the year by talking about First Light, and then we did our breakdown of First Light, and Joe was like, I want to play more Bond games and cover them on the podcast. And I was like, Joe, I'm not that into that idea. But Joe was very persuasive, so we decided that yes, we would go ahead, and after, reviewing First Light, we're going to take a look at a few more Bond games. Not all of them. We're definitely not going to commit to all of them, but while we're in the Bond mood, while we still got a little bit of time before Bond 26, we're going to sit down and play some Bond games and then give them a review, I suppose.
That's not exactly how I remember things happening, but that's okay. We've ended up in the same situation, which I'm happy about. We're playing Bond games and we can yap away for a little while just talking about them.
I'm pretty sure you said in your live stream of this game recently that I was forcing you to do it or something like that. I can't quite remember the phrasing.
Do you know what? There's no way of knowing. There's literally no way of knowing. So
there's no evidence.
There's no evidence of that, no.
There's no point looking back. We can always look forward. But EA decided there was a point in looking back, all the way back in 2005, because what game are we going to be looking at for the very first one of these, Joe?
We're looking at From Russia with Love. Not the film, the video game.
Not the book.
Not the book. Not the weird merchandise that would have come out at the time maybe for it. No. The game.
The game. I think we were trying to decide which one to talk about first. And I think it wasn't even any real discussion. It was just From Russia with Love makes the most sense because it's just such an odd one, but kind of iconic and just kind of interesting. If we talked about GoldenEye first, it'd be just a little bit boring. Maybe we will talk about GoldenEye, but it's been done to death. From Russia with Love is, I guess, if you're a real Bond fan, like me and Joe, then this is kind of the most interesting game they arguably ever made.
It definitely stands out compared to its contemporaries. Well, and any of the Bond games, really. But especially for when it came out in 2005. Yeah, and obviously we didn't really get that many more Bond games after this point. So even looking back 22 years now, there's not a lot really to talk about in that time. So this was an interesting one to revisit after playing it when I was younger and having lots of thoughts about how I felt about it, and actually some of those thoughts being completely wrong coming back to it now in 2026.
So I'll give a very, high-level overview of this game, right? So this was published by EA. It was made by EA. This was very much during the era where EA was just pumping out Bond games, not even one a year, sometimes more than one a year. And this was very much at the end of their era. And they just came around and just said, we're doing From Russia with Love. And this was their swan song for the James Bond series. But again, it came at the end of this very intense era for Bond games, which somewhat continued on because Activision then kind of took it over, but never quite to the same crazy level that EA had done before. So did I just hear you say that you did play this when you were younger? I'm assuming when this first came out around that time?
That's right, yeah.
So what was your memories of this game then?
Well, it's interesting because I think back then, I probably wasn't as big of a Bond fan because I was younger and just not as aware of the franchise as a whole. Although, the following year after this came out, Casino Royale would have come out, and then that was my first big memory of Bond when I was younger. So I didn't, and this is something I was thinking about earlier playing this game, is the fact that Sean Connery came back to do this. It's kind of really cool, right? And for any older Bond fans at the time, probably would have meant a lot more than it did to me as a kid, being like, oh, cool, there's another James Bond game. Oh, it's Thunder, it's from Russia with Love. I know that's a film, and I know they've turned it into a game. That's pretty cool. But for someone else, it might be like, wow, they got Sean back after 20 odd years playing that terrible Bond in Never Say Never Again. So I always thought it was fun, but I don't think it really, hit me in the same way that it might have for others.
Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat. This didn't really resonate with me. So I didn't play this when it came out.
Oh, okay.
I played this years later when I was reviewing video games for my YouTube channel, and I decided to review this one because I thought it was quite interesting. This was back when I was giving scores for games. Do you want to guess what score I gave it out of 10? 0.5s. I did also do 0.5s as well. Just 0.5s.
I think you were probably going to be quite harsh, and I think you probably gave it something like 5.5.
Okay, it's a good guess. I gave it a 4.5.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Then. But this was me playing it I guess it would have been 10 years after the fact. But I think from what you mentioned about Sean Connery coming back, and I think for certain Bond fans, this game means a lot. And I think even for me and you, I would say we now fall into that category, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just having that appreciation, the fact that there is nothing else like this. So I want to try and provide the counter argument to that, because I think nowadays when a Bond fan talks about this game, it's very positive because it's such an interesting relic, because Sean came back, because it's from Russia with Love. But I was a huge Bond game guy during the PS2 and GameCube era. I think Nightfire, me and my friends played to death, and I got it as well. I then got Agent Under Fire because that was £2 everywhere on PS2. It was super easy to get, or £4 on GameCube if you're feeling fancy. And then Everything or Nothing I got for my birthday in 2004, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. And then I loved James Bond games enough to play GoldenEye Rogue Agent, which of course, as you imagine, I was quite disappointed by. But in my kind of head, with how much they were pumping these out, I did get very burnt out by James Bond games during that era. And to be honest, I kind of lumped in From Russia with Love with GoldenEye Rogue Agent, where they did 3 original Bond stories that were all pretty good. Agent Under Fire, Nightfire, and Everything or Nothing. And Everything or Nothing in particular, they went all in terms of the budget, in terms of the scope of it. It was really impressive. It really did feel like that extra Pierce Brosnan film. It was amazing. But then there was this need for them to keep pumping out Bond games. And I feel like GoldenEye Rogue Agent and From Russia with Love, to me at the time, kind of merged together as just laziness almost.
Okay.
We don't have any ideas. We don't really want to do original stories in the same way we used to. The Bond franchise as a whole was in a transition because this was, as you said, Casino Royale came out 2006, and we knew that Pierce Brosnan wasn't a Bond anymore. So they were pumping out games, but there was no Bond franchise to tie themselves to. So for me, this felt like it came from that same creative place of, we just need a Bond game. Oh, that one that people like from the 60s, whatever, let's put that in shops. So I didn't play it because I was kind of burnt out from GoldenEye Rogue Agent, and this just felt like another one of those, just approaching it from a very different angle.
So, interestingly, I didn't play GoldenEye Rogue Agent when I was younger, and I still haven't fully completed it even to this day. I've played it a couple times in some videos and live streams, but I've never really got past maybe the first fifth of the game. I don't know how long it is, but very early on. So I'm assuming it's not very good, right?
It's not great, no. There's some cool ideas in there. If it is a villain game, which that's cool about it, but gameplay wise, yeah, just very repetitive and boring.
Okay. Yeah, that is the thing that I do remember actually, is they throw in Scaramanga and all the other... Yeah, anyway, we're not here to talk about that, sorry. Yeah, so interesting. So it's actually... So this time playing it for this podcast, is this your first time properly playing it, not with a idea to review it, you're just playing it to experience it?
I guess so, but even then, I did play through it properly back when I did do that review, so I would say it's kind of similar, this sort of experience, to be fair. But yeah, again, for me, this represented back in the day this kind of drop-off, and I can definitely nowadays see it very differently, but it's just so interesting, I guess, and I guess maybe we'll get into this. The thing that really stands out about this game is just like, imagine this if it was just on like a later console that had better technology to really take advantage of the idea. Like, that's the thing that stands out to me. Like, some of the reason why this game gets forgotten, even though it really shouldn't be, is because it was just like, they just took everything or nothing and just reskinned it with Sean Connery and From Russia with Love and just threw it out there to like get it out there. And it came out like the same month as the Xbox 360 did. Like, it just kind of had no chance.
Wait, are you saying?
But it really.
Are you saying you don't remember all the rappelling from Russia with Love?
Sadly, no. I don't quite remember Sean Connery leaping off an edge and then rappelling down very slowly.
Oh yeah, he did it all the time. It wasn't just because it was a feature and everything or nothing. No.
Absolutely not.
No.
But it's just like, this game is so cool. And again, when someone describes, you're like, that's really cool. But it does kind of, at the time, it did just feel like a game to fill that schedule. And even looking back on it, I'm like, man, if this was like, if this came out in any other era, it feels like it would have been cooler. I don't know. It just felt like it was, even though it is a really cool idea, I do think it is a little bit handcuffed by the circumstances that it came out as. But I guess back then people had an expectation that you released video games a lot. Nowadays, you don't do that. Like, imagine a company releasing a game every 2 years. You don't do that anymore. That's crazy. So
no, in fact,
it's a very different time.
In fact, people always praise games for being delayed now, and they always have that line about, a delayed game is a bad game is bad, or you know the thing I'm trying to say, like that quote that someone said. They always say that, and it's like, sure, but I still do want games to come out before I'm 60, you know. So
they haven't got long.
No, exactly. The clock's ticking. So I understand things being delayed, but then I think you're right. Whatever the time frame for development they had for this game was clearly not enough, because you can so easily see where things were sort of bodged together for the sake of just ease and reusing assets and just a general limit of kind of gameplay and experiences in this game.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's just such important context. You know, if you want to point at EA and blame them, that's totally fair enough. But it was just a very different time where publishers had franchises and they put out a game every year and pushed it very hard. So this idea that from Russia with Love, like one of the most beloved Bond films, would simply be a rushed out game using an existing engine just to fill a release schedule. Nowadays, that's insane. And even back then, it felt a bit cynical for me anyway, but it was definitely a lot more accepted. But if they did this nowadays, it would be like a big deal, right? It would be treated with a lot more respect. But I feel like that this kind of really wasn't, especially because, again, it was like the next generation. I think part of the reason why I didn't play it as well is because everyone was just looking to the next consoles. Like, everyone was just kind of looking ahead a little bit. So this kind of felt a bit antiquated, just because it was just like, another Bond game. Okay, fine. We've had like 5 of those in 4 years, but okay, fine. Whatever, I guess.
How spoiled we were.
I know, it's crazy that
many. I can't handle these Bond games. Stop it.
Yeah, it's crazy that as many of them was as good as they were, to be fair. I guess I shouldn't complain too much, but I guess we should get into the game itself.
Sure.
So, you played it on PS2.
I did.
I played it on PS2. I also played it on PSP.
Oh.
I dusted off my PSP. I ordered a copy off eBay for like £8 of the game because I've been away for like the last 2 weeks. I've been away, so I've played the PSP version in my hotel room.
Oh my god, I love that! I love that image. I love that image.
I have a picture of not me, but you can see my hand holding the PSP with From Russia with Love. With "Have I got no? Would I lie to you?" blurred in the background on the TV. The most British thing. Yeah. I'll post it somewhere for sure. But I took that picture because I was like, this is a bit surreal even for me. Maybe I've gone too far this time. I don't know.
I just like the idea of you taking the PSP out and actually using it as a current, because it would just be Switch any other time, or Switch 2 you'd see. But I was actually on the tube the other day and I saw a woman across from me on, might have been a DS Lite. A very old DS.
Okay.
And I was like, good for you, lady.
Yeah.
These old consoles. They're still good. They're still got good games on them. And there you are, Tom, with your PSP in your hotel room, in your sad hotel room. No, wait.
Well, no, that's not very sad in there. Okay.
Was it
What would be
Travelodge?
the word? Dominant? No, it's Premier Inn.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not too bad. So I guess we should start off. I won't go through all the differences with the PSP version. I guess we will eventually. Maybe I will eventually later on. But let's start off with the beginning of this game, because right off the bat, it's the whole beginning. It's just like this new segment, which is like a remix of Thunderball. So of course this is from Russia with Love, but they take a lot of liberties. So you start off playing as Sean Connery in the classic white tux, which looks fantastic. But you are saving the Prime Minister's daughter in London, who's played by Natasha Bedingfield, and you're using the jetpack from Thunderball. So it is kind of like right out the gate. They do kind of rip off the Band-Aid, as the Americans would say, of like, yeah, we're going to do things a bit different. Like, this is very much like a remix of the game. And I guess I was kind of surprised at how much I enjoyed that mission. I guess it is kind of just crazy enough to work in my eyes.
Why was Natasha Bedingfield in this?
What do you mean?
Well, she didn't do the song.
Have you heard Unwritten?
Did she? Well, that is a great song.
No, I don't.
But
yeah.
Why was she in it? Because I would expect her to do the song if that was the case. But obviously she wouldn't, because it's from Russia with Love.
Well, I think this was just that era where like EA just started putting in known people into the games. But I don't know if GoldenEye Rogue Agent got that same treatment, because I was about to say, well, Everything or Nothing definitely did. But I don't think GoldenEye Rogue Agent had anything like that. I don't think it had any known people apart from just using the likenesses.
Yeah.
But I am now checking just in case I'm wrong. It doesn't look like it.
I now want to... When did Unwritten come out? Was it 2005? Was this like the height of Natasha Bedingfield's fame?
I would say like 2003, I want to say.
This is...
Are you looking it up?
Released in 2004. So she was a hot... this was hot topic. Unwritten.
Yeah.
A classic. A banger.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think there was just this definitely thing that EA did like to throw their money around when it came to this stuff. But I think even back then, I remember this being strange. Like, I feel like it was strange then, and it's even stranger now, because it's Sean Connery, like, being rendered as he was back in the 60s, saving Natasha Bedingfield, who's a pop star from 2004.
What do you mean? It makes perfect sense. It's what Sean would have wanted.
You're right.
Oh, no, wait, he was still alive at this point. I don't know why I worded it like that.
He might have said that. Get me Natasha. He was just listening to the radio. I was like, this is good.
Yeah, it's like, this is a really good song.
Can we get her?
And they're like, yes, Sean. Anything you want, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's very strange because like the evil Bond girl, the octopus villain, that is also a known actress. I want to say I don't really know her, but that is a known person as well.
Oh my god, I did not know that.
Yeah, so wow. I watched the extras. So basically, by getting enough points or whatever, you unlock the behind the scenes videos in the game. So did you watch those?
No, I didn't do any of the bonus missions. I didn't really unlock a lot of stuff. I was just done by the end of the main stories.
Yeah, so Maria Menounos. Oh my god, that's definitely wrong. She co-hosted Eurovision in 2006.
Okay.
She signed to WWE.
Okay.
Eventually.
Wow.
She became a pro wrestler.
Oh wow.
And she was like a TV host for like Access Hollywood and stuff like that. So again, the level you would expect for a James Bond game, I suppose.
I guess so. Yeah, I just didn't know. I thought that was just a generic.
Oh, here we go. Here we go, Joe.
Yeah.
Natasha Bedingfield. Bedingfield had previously performed a song for the Bond spin-off game GoldenEye Rogue Agent.
Oh.
So she did do a song. She just wasn't in that game. And I guess they just got her back for this game because she did a song on the other one.
It's a good thing you found that out. Otherwise, someone in the comments would have been moaning, being like, how could they not know?
Or the bedheads.
The bedheads. Which is actually just her and her brother.
Yeah. Oh, Danny. Oh, Daniel. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I feel like back then, even then, it didn't make sense and it looks very strange. But the rest of the level, I think it's... because it feels like this game, the approach to have... There's two ways you can do it, right? You can either do a proper grounded true to the film, true to the book, true to the 60s, Cold War style game, which is very slow paced and espionage and, maybe like, I'm trying to think of a good example really, but you know what I mean? Like those PS2 kind of, not maybe ground is the wrong word, but like taking itself seriously and you're exploring and you're taking your time and you're looking around and you're finding things and a proper spycraft thing. Or you can go the other way, which is just to combine all these different elements from the 60s and make a more crazy out there adventure. And right away, this game is like, yeah, we're going to do the crazy thing. You are going to ride in a jetpack and fight a helicopter around Big Ben. And you can like shoot out Big Ben if you want.
Collateral damage. I mean, I suppose, yeah, the alternative, I mean, the way the film starts, which is in the game, but it's obviously the level afterwards, is not really that big action-packed intro that you really want for a video game, particularly, unless maybe they could have taken a little bit later on. Maybe they could have had like a really explosive chess match with Kronstein, the giant board where the guy's moving the pieces. That can blow up. But yeah, there's lots of options there. But yeah, I think they probably did the right thing there. And also, it's good that there are still a few surprises, and it isn't just the film, because that would have been difficult enough to do anyway, just to make the film a game, because it's not. So the fact that they've added these things, and some of them are a bit weird, don't get me wrong, but some of them are pretty good, like the first level.
Yeah, I think going the route of let's just celebrate the action from that era of Bond, I think works very well. Or at least on paper, it could work very well. Because we're not going to go through this level by level. That's going to be a little bit too tedious.
Wait, we're not? But I've got my official game guide.
Ah, well, next time.
I can tell you how to earn every award, fully detailed 3D maps, and to unlock the hidden levels.
So did you do all of that then?
No.
Okay.
I didn't do any of those things.
But you have the knowledge.
But I could do, is the important part.
Yeah. So I guess I want to kind of break down my experience. I think like my experience with this game could really be divided into like 3 chunks. And I think the first chunk, the first hour or so was like, I actually really liked it. You've got the silliness and all these different references. You got the Thunderball stuff. You got Natasha Bedingfield, which is like, that makes no sense and weird, but fine. You've got, I'm playing as Sean Connery, and it's actually Sean Connery, but also he can't speak properly, so everything's his accent's horrendous, and it doesn't sound like him. But there's like a real charm to it, right? And the first hour especially has like a really good variety to it as well, where level 1 is the more crazy action thing, like the start of a Bond film, and then the next level is based on the stealth maze, which is a lot slower and also incredibly faithful. And then you've got like more action sections as well. You've got driving segments. There's like a really nice variety to it. And then it does faithfully recreate From Russia with Love as well, while also throwing in these new action set pieces. And I'm like, did I get this wrong? Did I actually get this wrong before? Because that first hour, I actually was having a really good time with it.
Yeah. Frustratingly, I think we're going to have similar trajectories of how we felt, by the sounds of it anyway, because I was going to say the same thing. And that's when I was earlier on, when I was saying about the memories of how I felt about this game. That's what they were. It's like, this is, it's a really fun game. It's got Sean Connery. It's, for the most part, kind of sticking to the film. It's a real novelty. You get the little bit with Moneypenny and M, and you go into M's office, and all the characters look like they do from the film and generally sound like them. In fact, I think Sean's probably the one who sounds least like Sean.
I know. Like, it's if somebody did that as a Sean Connery impression, you'd be like, well, that's not even close.
Yeah, come on.
You're just Scottish and drunk.
Yeah. One take Sean.
Yeah.
And I was having a really good time, like you say. Nice variety to begin with. And I think it rode, the novelty kind of was enough for me to ride on for a little while, of just being like, a 60s Bond game. This is really cool. But things change.
And I think that, yes. And that variety that Everything or Nothing have carries across into From Russia with Love, where every level you're always doing something different and it's always mixing things up. Like even with the shootings, even a little repetitive early on, but not too bad. But even then, you might have like a sniping section, so you're sniping for a little bit, and then it might throw in something else where, like, I guess the repel stuff, I suppose. But then it's like, okay, well, here's a driving section, which I didn't love the driving section, but you are driving the classic Aston Martin. So it's just like, yeah, okay, maybe this isn't amazing, but I love that I'm driving this car in a From Russia with Love story. That's incredibly cool that they did that. And I think it was the pace that meant it was the mix of really enjoying the novelty of it, as you described, but also like the pacing of it. And when the pacing of it was nice and fast, nice and jumping between all these different things, and just appreciating all the references, that's when like the game really shines. And I'm like, well, maybe people were right. Maybe this is actually a very good game. Or maybe people only play the first hour of it or so, say I've had enough of that, that was cool, and then move on. That's probably my guess, because as the game goes on, yeah, again, I don't want to go too negative, right? Because I actually ended up in quite a bad mood playing this one, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't finish it. I didn't finish either versions. It just did my head in.
Oh, okay, right. I've got a question then, because, like, yeah, I'm the same way. I know, I think I know roughly where that point happened, but I want to find out from you, like, do you know which level it was where it kind of flipped and you're like, no, I'm not enjoying this anymore?
So yeah, so like, I think there's kind of, so yeah, if the first hour or so is really fun, it then, as you're playing the game, starts to drag, and it's the combat and shooting for me. So this is a third-person shooter game. It has a lock-on system, like a lot of these games did. But basically, to try and mix things up, I think there's like kind of a few different ideas they try and throw in there, so you're not just mindlessly shooting. Now, I would rather be mindlessly shooting. That would be a lot more fun. But they've got these couple of ideas. One of them is bond focus, where for every enemy, it wants you to do a disable, which is where you press square and you zoom in, and then it gives you this little circle. And if you shoot the circle, then it disables them in some way. It kind of does a chunk of damage. It maybe you shoot a grenade or something like that. Most of the time it makes no sense, because it's just like shoot them in their left hip rather than getting a headshot, and you get like more points for doing that, even though a headshot kills them. It's very strange. But early on, that's fine. But as the game goes on, as the enemies get tougher, you get these like big armored enemies. You get like huge groups of enemies coming your way. This whole process just becomes so tedious to have to zoom in like every single time. And I think for me, that gets worse and worse as the game kind of goes on. So I think that middle section of the game, that issue started to really kick in. But the level where I really got sick of it on PS2 was, I can't quite remember how they split it. I think it was the train level.
The one that ends with the Red Grant fight.
Well, I think it begins.
Oh, it begins
with
the cutscene of it, and then it ends with it as well.
Yeah, so you do the fight on the train, and then you do this crazy fight inside, which maybe we should talk about that in a bit. But then you go outside to the train station,
yeah,
and you're just fighting all these enemies, and you're fighting enemies with shields, where it's really awkward to even take them out. There's just a ton of different enemies. You're escorting Tara or Tatia, I can't remember her name. And she has a health bar, so you have to make sure to protect her. And for me, it was like that level where I was just like, I am just kind of sick of this shooting and this combat. And because the game gets harder, because it makes you do it more often, because it's just tougher enemies, that was kind of my breaking point.
Yeah, I did try when I first started playing it, and then you get introduced to the whole bond focus, and you got the hot spots. And, you can shoot a radio before someone calls backup. And as you say, you can shoot a grenade and it drops and explodes. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna try and do that. And I think that lasted all of one level before I just realized that you could just blast them. Just blast them. And it doesn't matter. Like, there's no real incentive to doing that unless you are doing the scoring afterwards. And every now and then it might be satisfying to hear that little kind of pin sound effect when the grenade goes off and drops. But the whole shooting element of this game, I'm kind of a little bit disappointed by, because at least for the way I played it, and this is just me choosing to play it this way, so maybe it's my own fault, but I think I basically switched between 3 weapons at most, like the pistol, one of the assault rifles, and when I had to, the sniper rifle, maybe, or like a one-time thing like the bazooka. But there was a few. There's like the Magnum in there. There's a really interesting one which is like a gun/gadget where it's like a serum gun, and it almost makes them turn into zombies. Did you ever use that?
Yeah, I used that because there's a tutorial for it. It was like something from Destroy All Humans.
Yeah,
Because they go all like gaggly and weird. So you shoot them with a serum gun, and then they start attacking their like fellow guards. But they just do it like I don't know, like they just go weird and just flail their limbs.
Like I was playing Last of Us, and they'll turn into a clicker.
It was so weird, but like again, it always comes down to like I'm Sean Connery in a tux shooting someone with a serum gun, and then they just do this like zombie behavior. You're like, this. I'm open to being silly, guys, but again, that's like Ratchet and Clank Destroy All Humans level of like humor almost. But I don't know if it's meant to be funny. It was just weird.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I did barely use that. And what was the other thing that I was thinking of? A couple of the gadgets, like the briefcase turret, which I thought that's kind of a cool idea because that means I don't have to aim and I could just plant it down and maybe it'll be good against the tougher guys. No. Kind of just, again, useless. It's just easy just to spray. And so, yeah, like I said, that's partly my own fault for just not trying more with the different weapons, but also the game should have more of a reason for you to use different weapons, and I just found it didn't. You could probably just use the whole, play the whole game using a pistol if you really wanted to. Wouldn't make any difference.
Well, I guess it depends, right? Because my other problem, so yeah, I agree with you. I think it gets very repetitive. And it gets worse as it goes on out, where early on enemies are quite weak, and also you're always jumping between different things. But there's only one stealth area in the entire game, and that's the hedge maze.
Yeah.
And like after you do that maze, even though stealth would make a ton of sense for something like this, they never do stealth again, and it seems really silly. Like not to just have one other level just to break things up and just break out the pacing, because instead you are just shooting guys over and over and over again. But another issue I had with the combat and the shooting as well is the ammo balancing, where I just found myself switching weapons all the time because I always was running out of ammo.
Oh, okay.
And some of that was, okay, so did you ever use the special ammo?
I did, yeah, which is really annoying. You have to go into the menu to change it, but yes.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I find like, because I was running out of ammo, so basically you have this special ammo, which I don't really know what it does. I'm assuming just like more damage.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to find out for you in the Prima guide?
Well, please do. I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I think it's more
You
damage.
have this special ammo that we think it does more damage. We can't figure out if that's true or not. But like, yeah, you don't just press a button, you pause the game, you select that weapon, you switch ammo type, and then you get rid of it. But it's just like, I just found myself in this process where like I was switching stuff all the time, whether that was stopping the game to just switch my weapon, whether that was pausing to switch my ammo type. Because even if you like run out of special ammo, sure, it'll switch to another gun, but then I think you do have to go in and switch that back as well just to get. And it just adds in all these like little irritations where like everything just feels a little bit more drawn out, because I personally found I couldn't use the weapons I wanted to use because there's so many weapons with so many different ammo types. And whenever you found some ammo, they didn't really give you that much anyway, maybe like 2 clips. And then you would use those 2 clips and then you were just like, okay, well now I have to switch to something else. And I just found that very like not fun or enjoyable at all. So again, I think early on, it's not that big of a deal, but as it goes on, these issues just really kind of add up and kind of hit a breaking point towards the end of the game.
Yeah, it definitely did feel a bit clunky at times. And one more thing about the combat as well that just constantly annoyed me was the lock-on aiming. It just seemed... it feels so stupid complaining about a game from 2005, but it never locked onto the person I wanted it to, and
Okay.
trying to like shift between them with the thumbstick never worked when I wanted it to, and that was most apparent in one of the boss fights. I can't remember which one it was. Oh, it was the one near the very end actually against Red Grant when he comes back from the dead, and it's just so poorly implemented. I found it just never worked correctly when I wanted it to. So that combined with the lack of meaning for most of the weapons. It wasn't the best gameplay for that.
No. Yeah, and it just really runs out of steam for sure. So I mentioned the level where I kind of got sick of the game. What level was that for you?
Well, I had two stages. I
Okay,
had one where
good.
I got
Yeah.
bored, and then I
Okay.
had one where I got annoyed. So I think the one where I got bored was, I think it might have been the consulate. I think that might be the first time you have to have like Tatiana as an escort, and you have to make sure she doesn't um, get freaked out too much with a little bar. But I think by that point,
Yes.
I think I just run out of steam, like you said. Not, I was getting the feeling that nothing new was really going to be introduced at this point, and it isn't. So it's like, okay, this is basically all the game, and I'm kind of done with it. And then the point where I got annoyed was, I think it might have been the train level actually, because I just the end boss fight for the train level is just utterly bizarre, and it just felt really stupid. And I think that's what annoyed me, is it was like, this is really stupid. And then it gets even worse afterwards. Did you get as far as the border level?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's one where you're in a boat for ages, with Tatiana driving, and you're on the gun, and it's just
Oh yeah,
such
I do remember it. Yeah.
it's so long. It's so long and such a slogfest. So yeah, but I'd say those are the moments that kind of stood out to me. But the first few levels I really liked. So maybe I
Yeah,
just
it's crazy how like the jetpack is fun in the London level. That stealth maze level is really good.
yeah, it's got a great
Like
vibe.
it's as good as you could expect for a PS2 recreation of it. It's got the atmosphere, it's got the stealth. It works really well. And then yeah, like just the basic shooting levels are pretty solid. I liked sniping, protecting Current Bay. It's not the most interesting to do because there are a lot of escort stuff in this game which aren't particularly fun. But I think conceptually, like, yeah, that's cool. It's like the film. I'm sniping to help my friend, which is really nice. So it is crazy how like well it kind of does it early on. I think the level where it starts to kind of slide is probably the one you described, but also the level where you're just in a turret in like the sewers, and then you just go on the jetpack and go back through the exact same set of tunnels that you just went through,
Oh yeah,
and it's just shooting. Like you're just shooting non-stop, and I think it goes back to something that we mentioned earlier, where this game feels rushed, and when you kind of look at this game through that lens, the padding becomes very apparent. This game, it's not massively long. It's like 5-6 hours, maybe something like that. But even then, they just pad it out a lot. And I think that probably adds to a lot of the issues we're talking about, where sections that should be 5 minutes are like 10 minutes because they needed to get it to like a certain length.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I mean that border level with the boat for sure, it just never ended. And then like yeah, a few levels where it would just be escape as the end of it, or the driving levels, which is just three of the same three of the same location driving around Istanbul. I think at least for the last one. Oh no, actually no, there is another driving one which isn't in the city centre, but a lot of them take place in that same city centre environment, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah. I want to complain about the driving levels, but I feel like we should say something positive first.
Okay, yes.
So I do want to say, like, I think the cutscenes are pretty great
I
throughout.
agree. And Joe, what else I think really stands out with the cutscenes is
Yeah.
considering that this is based on From Russia of Love and they get all the likenesses from the film, very little uncanny valley for me, actually. I actually think the faces look really good. And I was watching it, I was like, this has no right to look as normal as it does. Like, this should look freaky. Like, Rosa Kleb's face should be giving me nightmares in this PS2 format. But it didn't. I was like, that actually looks like her. And it's really fluid and really well animated, and I really enjoyed the cutscenes.
Oh, yeah. Tech wise, for 2005 is crazy. It's crazy how far they had kind of come. I guess we've already seen, we saw a little bit of that with Everything or Nothing, but even then, this is like a step above that game. Like Sean, it's not perfect, of course, but seeing, especially Grant, I think
Mm.
Grant looks like spot on. He looks
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. I think most people in this game does actually, apart from Natasha Bedingfield. No, not really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I like let's stay being positive actually. So the cutscenes I liked, and I liked the music as well.
Oh yeah, the music. So again, surprising how how do you take classic Bond, the From Russia with Love soundtrack, and add that into such like a crazy everything or nothing style action game? And the answer is like you can do it. It's doable. It's classic horns. It's that classic sound. It can ramp back up. Like in the later levels, I think you do just get the Bond theme straight up as well, which is quite nice.
You do, although
But
actually there is one point where I can't remember which level it is, but whatever the Bond theme bit that they chose for that was way too short because it loops over and over and over again. So it's kind of weird hearing the Bond theme go over and over and over again. But for the most of the game, I thought the music was good.
Yeah. Again, I think it felt like an impossible task really when you describe it, but it fitted really well. Like it really matched that like John Barry style for like this sort of game, and it's surprising how well they did it. And it is incredibly cool when you first boot this game because you get that like title sequence.
Oh yeah.
You get a remix version of the From Russia with Love title sequence, which is I love it because I love that song and I love that title sequence. But again, it's very strange that you're like, oh, that's Natasha Bedingfield. It just so stands out. It's insane. Like, because they shot all these extra footage of like her looking all like intense and sexy, I suppose. And then they just like put it in the background of like, here's the Orient Express and here's Mother Russia. And then you just got Natasha there just with her hair blowing. Like, oh my God, it's so strange. But I still love it. It's amazing to boot up a PS2 game and have the From Russia with Love intro play at you. That in itself is just really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, really well done. A great way to start the game. And they didn't just rest on it being From Russia with Love and then just kind of hoping that that would be enough of a draw. Like they really went all in with that sort of 60s theme and pulling from the source material, and they did it really well, considering who knows how long they had to do it, but however much time they had, they did it well.
Yeah, I loved when like Sean said the red wine with fish line. That's just I love that moment in the film. And I think they probably rewrote it for this. I think they did tweak a lot of the lines for when doing these cutscenes. But yeah, just having old man Sean being like, yeah, of course. Red wine with fish. I should have known.
Yeah.
Although I don't think they had Grant say, what is it, old bean? What does he say in the film?
He says old man. He says old man a lot. Yeah.
Is that the one? I don't think he says that in this game.
No, he definitely does. He does.
Does he?
Yeah. I can't remember. He does, and then there's like one point where it's like the cool line said about old man. It might have been after the fight when he says old man.
Oh, maybe
that's in the film anyway. He goes old man, but I think they move it to a different place in the game.
Oh, I see. I just remembered because in the film he said it so much, like he's saying it all the time, but he doesn't really do it that much. You don't see a lot of that stuff in this game. Is they meet up on the train, they get on the train, and then he gets the wrong wine and it all kicks off.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And then he has that because he says old man with the white wine, because he knocks out Bond with the white wine. It's like, here's your white wine, old man. Like, what? Leave him alone.
It's so funny knowing the film and it instantly escalates in the game where it doesn't in the film. It just goes from 0 to 100.
But again, I don't think he calls it, because in the game he calls him old man. But he doesn't say that in the film. He's just saying so it just felt really out of place. Like you're surely you're about the same age in this story. Why are you? Here's your white wine, old man. I was like, no.
Hey, this isn't Never Say Never again. You can say it there.
Yeah, it's 20 years away from that.
Yeah,
you're about the same age. He just looks a bit old. Let's not be mean.
It's a bit of a shame though that fight is just limited to a cutscene though. It would have been nice to have some sort of, I don't know how they would have done fist fights and combat, but it is just that the famous train fight scene between Bond and Grant is just a 20-second cutscene.
Well, I'm a bit conflicted about it because again, I agree. I would have liked to have played it, but also I don't see how they would have done it. The thing that really bothers me about that scene is that after the fist fight, after they show the cutscene of the fist fight, you then get the biggest tonal whiplash ever because like then Grant and Bond, they've finished their fight, but then I think Grant's like, kill him or get him. And then just like one of the giant brutes from the game, like the giant Russian or Spectre people show up. And he just looks like such like a video game boss. He doesn't look like a real person. So you have someone who looks like a real person, and then just this giant guy who has the proportions that a human would not have. And like that's it's one of those where it's like, okay, there's going to be a bit of tonal whiplash with this game because of the way they're doing it. I find it really strange they framed that cutscene this way, where they recreated the scene very well, had this fight, just to then have this like grrr, big tough guy with a machine gun then just like appear behind Grant, because it just looks really silly. And it's like, you didn't need to do that. He could have just said, get him, and then he runs away and then just goes in. But instead they have him in the cutscene and he just looks out of place.
There are a few points in the game where when they expand on the film to add more gameplay, it doesn't gel as well as, say, the first level with the Houses of Parliament, because that's, first of all, that's just the start. So you're coming into that fresh. And then also it's its own little standalone thing. So it ends and then you go on to the film. Whereas, yeah, bits like that where it's like, okay, from something from the film, very, very kind of similar, to something new and also weird, like you're saying, some giant Russian character. Those kind of stand out more. There was another example of that later on where I think it's when you're like chasing this woman, the wrestler woman, who I didn't know was a real person, but she's got the lector, and then there's just weird moments where like you're running after her and you've just come out of a tank, and it's just really strange. Like the cutscenes are well made, but sometimes what you're doing in them, or where they've come from, and what you know where they've come from in the film, and they're going into something new, you're like, what? This is just weird. It's just wrong.
Well, that's the thing. I think like a big criticism of this game is all the extra stuff they added. But I think both of us went into this game knowing that they had fleshed things out. And there is probably, and especially with it being a PS2 game, there's almost an expectation that they would do something like that. So for me, that stuff didn't really bother me in terms of like conceptually adding in all this extra stuff to From Russia with Love to make it a full game. To me, that's always been fine. But like, I'm fine with that across the board. I think people are just a little bit too picky when it comes to that sort of thing. But yeah, like I think in this game, sometimes it's okay, but it's almost like they deliberately shine a light on it and just have these two kind of styles just mashed together in a way where it's like, you didn't really, if you were a bit smarter with this, we didn't need to be in this situation. So I'm totally okay with them adding in extra levels and stuff. But yeah, they could have been a lot smarter with how they presented it, because it's so obvious what comes from the film, and it's so obvious what's like the 2005, like that wrestler woman is like in like black spandex or whatever. Like she does not look like she's from the 60s at all.
No, exactly. And then the next thing you know, she's in some fighter jet about to, well, she just crashes. She's really dumb, actually. She just crashes into a closed door of a hangar.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what do you think's going to happen, love? You're going to blow up.
Yeah.
The one thing I have mixed feelings on, but obviously the way that the game ends is different to how the film ends, where it's you have that little bit in Venice after Rosa Klebb comes in and starts kicking. She's had her kicks. But then you get, clearly in the room when they were developing this, someone thought, well, that's fine, but we've got to have a big Bond layer in there, right? And then they were all like, yeah, we should probably have the villain layer in there as well. So then they just tag on an extra level called Octopus Base, because it's not Spectre, it's Octopus in this game. And this is the one that when I played it originally, I remember having a lot of issues with this level. And I've always said that I actually never finished this game when I was younger, because I remember getting stuck. Now, I don't know if I was just a stupid child who couldn't play video games, probably, or a stupid child who set the difficulty too high and also couldn't play video games very well. Probably that. But I played it today and I'm like, this is not any problem at all. I don't know why I found it so difficult. It's fine. And it's, as far as the level goes, I think conceptually great. Have a big lair. It's got a rocket in the middle. You got a bit of lava. You got that sort of Ken Adams set design vibe with big beams and shapes and hangers and everything. I really liked it. But in terms of what you actually do in the level, I mean, yeah, like I said earlier, by this point I was a bit checked out, I would say.
Well, yeah, I mean that is the level that has the most shooting and as well. It's just they just run out of ideas. They just completely run out of ideas. I guess we should talk about the octopus thing because yes, this was set during the time, or this game came out during the time when they didn't have the rights to Spectre. So Spectre had been hidden from the main series for like 30 years or something by this point. So when it came to them remaking From Russia with Love as a PS2 game, they changed everything to be Octopus, which again at the time I remember being like, that's stupid because everyone's just calling it Octopus. But again, I think nowadays I'm more like lenient towards that stuff. I understand. It's just one of these kind of things. And I don't know, it's kind of just funny to hear old man Sean talk about, octopus. I think that's just funny in itself. So I don't know, a bit disappointing, but I feel like this is another thing that I was aware of. So going into the game, I don't think it's that big of a deal ultimately.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, as far as decisions go, not the worst one. If there's an octopus in the logo, in the ring, sure, let's just call it Octopus. I don't know whether they tried to make it stand for anything. I hope not.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be quite a stretch trying to make that work. But yeah, no, I was fine with it as well.
I never really understood why they didn't just make it Smersh instead. That feels like an easy fix. Just make it Smersh rather than Spectre. I think that would have worked.
Smersh is from the books, right?
Yeah, but he does mention it in the From Russia with Love film. So you know the scene in this game where he's just like, so who are you working for, the Russians? And he's like, He's like, oh, of course, Octopus. So in the film, he says, who do you work for? Smersh. And he's like, And he's like, Spectre. Wait a minute, Spectre.
Oh, yes.
So he mentions Smersh during that scene and then realizes he actually works for Spectre. So I feel like that maybe it doesn't 100% fit, but I think that would have been a really nice kind of nod, even if it doesn't quite fit. But just to see a bit more representation of Smersh in the outside of the books would have been nice.
Yeah, true.
So I guess I can go back to the driving levels once more.
Oh, goody.
Yeah. So I don't want to complain about these too much because ultimately there's not many of them. But the thing I find really shocking is just how like bad the controls are and how the car feels to drive around, which is weird because Everything or Nothing, from memory anyway, controls very well. It's very arcadey. It's very just like drive around and have fun. And this is just that again. But for some reason, I always find myself like spinning out in this game. And I just don't feel like it definitely is arcadey, but it just doesn't feel good to drive around. And considering that's all you're doing in the driving levels, makes me like, oh, this is really cool that this is here. I'm really glad they're doing driving levels, especially after playing First Light, which wasn't that good with them. It was really cool to see this, and it's really cool to play the Aston. But I'm like, I actually don't really like any of these. None of these really like feel good to play.
Yeah, I also had a lot of trouble with the driving. First of all, I thought it was just something wrong with me, or maybe something wrong with my controller. I don't know what I just thought this can't be it. I just constantly seemed to like ping pong off the side of the edges of wherever I was driving, and it would just flick around too much. And then I quickly realized, no, that is just how the game is acting, and that's how I'm going to have to drive. But there was one area where I thought this is fine, and the reason why I thought that is because you're literally just limited to one direction. This was more similar to the First Light levels. It's the one where you're in the tunnels and you're just going forwards basically, and there's a few jumps and stuff and things you can smash through along the way. That was fine. As I say, it's just a straight line. But in any other ones where you've got enemies around you, I also just found there was a weird sort of dissonance with the weapon, like the timing of the weapons and the speed of their enemies, the timing of your car and the speed of the enemy's cars, where I never felt like it was a natural fight going on. Either I was going in front of them or they were going in front of me, and it just felt really messy. So most of the time I just sort of grinned and bared it, but it wasn't a great experience.
I had something kind of similar because there's like two type of cars that you're going up against. The ones that are shooting at you, but then there's just the black cars that ram you.
Yeah.
and they're the ones that like match your speed, and then but they're not that aggressive. They're just like in the way, and you try and make a turn, and then they're just there, and then you just spin out because they're blocking you, and you're like, what was I? But it's like, what was I supposed to do? I guess I'll just brake and then just shoot that car and then keep going. I guess that's what you want me to do. I don't know. I think messy is probably the perfect word for the driving sections. But I do want to say again, very glad they're in here. I would rather take them than not have them. But it is very odd that Everything or Nothing and the other Bond games had good driving sections, and these ones just kind of feel bad, which is just like a bit disappointing.
Yeah. I did like the jetpack though. I thought the jetpack sections were fun. So
they were decent. It was just, I mean, it's the rest of the game, isn't it? It's just padded. Where like maybe they didn't, some of them were a little bit long, and they used the jetpack a lot. What is it, like 5? I want to say something like that. There's like 5 jetpack sections, maybe even more.
Yeah.
So they get a lot of use out of it, which again is cool. That's cool that it's like Bond has this like gadget like this and he's willing to use it across multiple levels. But yes, for me it felt like padding, because it's like, remember that section you just did? Well, now you're on the jetpack and you got to do it again, but all you're doing is just moving and shooting. And then like that one in the tunnels I mentioned before, the first time I played it, I didn't realize you could go down and get more armor, because you can, like, you know, if you like land, you can get more armor and then you can go back up and keep going. So I just didn't heal for the whole section, and then I died right at the end and I had to do it all again. I was like, okay, all right. But then I figured out about the armor and it was totally okay. But yeah, it's again, it's just that padding, really hard to get around it. And the jetpack, again, I'm glad they used it a ton, but sometimes it does feel like padding.
Just be thankful that the jetpack wasn't used in a realistic way for like how it actually was used in Thunderball, where you spend 5 minutes getting in it, you fly about 30 feet, and then you have to land and just take it off again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like you get a lot of usage out of this. You are going pretty big distances.
I always do think it's funny that the jetpack is so synonymous with Sean Connery and Bond, and it was barely even in Thunderball. Like, it's just,
yeah.
I know this is talking about the film, but it's so silly. It's just like, and the time it's used is so lame as well. We must have talked about this in the episode, but it's just, even in these levels, I was thinking like, oh, you know, they brought back the Aston Martin from Goldfinger. Obviously, you've got the Frust with Love stuff. They bring back Thunderball. You got to have that jetpack. Sure, it's just.
Well, I think it's a good point, really, because if you wanted to do that London segment, it would make sense for him to be in Little Nessie. Is that what it's called?
Oh, the helicopter, Little Nelly. Yeah.
The helicopter, Nelly, yeah, from You Only Live Twice. That is the more iconic aerial combat section with Sean Connery.
Yeah.
So if they actually wanted to do it, that's what you should be controlling.
A little mini game where you have to put it together.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Did you ever do the little Intel attaché case mini game thing?
Oh, I did. Yeah.
What the hell was that all about?
I don't know. It's very strange though, right? So this game, you know, for people listening, this game has an upgrade system where if you like beat the level in a certain amount of time, if you get the Bond moment, you kind of like, or if you do get a certain amount of disables or whatever, you get research points. And then you can use those research points to upgrade your weapons, which is like a really nice idea.
Yeah.
Although I found halfway through, I had upgraded everything I wanted to, and I didn't really want to upgrade the Q-copter, so who cares? But then you also find these like cases that are hidden, these caches, and then you have to do a mini game where buttons come up on screen, and you have to wait for the right button to come up to then press it, and then you have to do like 5 of those in a sequence. And as you got further and further into the game, they got longer. And I agreed, like, why are we doing this? Like, it just took forever. You're just sitting there doing nothing, being like, oh, triangle comes up soon.
Yeah.
L1, square, R1, circle, R1, cross, square, triangle. Oh, I missed it. I wasn't paying attention.
Well, there was a certain point where I just couldn't do it. But I later read.
Oh, really?
I later read that I think I was doing it wrong. Whereas I thought you had to do them in the order they were on screen, but I don't think you do.
Oh,
I think you could, if they're on the screen, you can just do any of them. Yeah.
Oh, really? That would make them so much better.
Yeah, because at one point I was like, well, I've definitely not got enough time to do this, so I just gave up.
Yeah, but again, you didn't need to do it anyway.
No.
Because all you got was research points, and at a certain point in the game, they become completely redundant.
Yep. I was in like the last few levels and I was thinking, why am I even bothering searching these filing cabinets? I don't need this
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. And again, I think that's the thing. It's just that it's another system that's just not well balanced. That's just not well thought out. The idea of finding these extra collectibles and searching around and having bond moments tied to your score and having this all go into a system where you can like, oh, now I can upgrade my weapons. Like that's a really good idea. It's just the whole system isn't balanced in a way to make you like care about it all that much. So it just becomes like one of these things that are just kind of in the background. A bit like the cover system. Did you ever use the cover system?
No. The most I did was just crouch sometimes behind things, but I never like did the proper up against the wall and then looking around stuff. No, never.
Yeah, like so if you hold triangle, you take behind cover, like everything or nothing, and then you can like kind of pop out, but like you just don't need to. The only time I did was against the helicopter that's inside the building that shoots you with missiles,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which I think is what you're meant to do because you hide behind it, you pop out, and then eventually the cover gets destroyed. So then you go to a next one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you are actually supposed to do it then. But that was the only time I kind of did it because it felt like the levels weren't really designed for you to do it. And it was kind of awkward to do anyway. So I just didn't bother.
I think that's it. Like this kind of ties together a lot of what we said so far, at least from me, like with the game, the gunplay and the collectible stuff. But at a certain point in the game, I wasn't really even thinking, I was just going through these levels. There was no thought to what I was actually doing. And it all just felt a little bit like I was just on pilot mode now. And then I was like, well, why am I even playing this?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's two ways you can look at it, right? Like I feel like some people might not accept this style of gameplay, but I think me and you are open to this type of game and open to this type of gameplay style. It's just, even compared to Everything or Nothing, it just doesn't really find the fun and it doesn't structure itself in a way that stays interesting throughout. And I was kind of the same, where I was either annoyed because a section was kind of difficult, or I was just like, my brain was off as I was trying to just like blast through everything because it just runs out of ideas halfway through and the pacing just falls off a cliff.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a shame. It is a shame because, is this the only example of the Sean Connery in a Bond game?
Well, Sean Connery in a Bond game, yes.
Yeah.
But if you want to play through Goldfinger, oh boy, let me tell you, 007 Legends.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, one more thing as well. You played it on PS2, right?
Yes.
Did it run terribly for you?
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up. Yeah, because it did.
Okay, because I've got like a little upscaler thing, so I could play it on the TV downstairs on the bigger TV. And so at one point I was worried, oh, maybe the upscaler is like input lag and stuff like that. But no, I don't think it is. I think it is just the game does run quite badly.
Yeah. I don't know what it's like on Xbox or GameCube, but I definitely had that on PS2.
Yeah.
You just see noticeable lag and chugging and stuff like that. And, you can put up with some of it. It's a PS2 game. You can't be too harsh about these things, but it does noticeably perform badly. I'm trying to think of a section when it does it now, but like you'll just have it from time to time where it's just like really slow and awful just for a bit. And it just, yeah, and it normally happens during combat. So there's like a double whammy where you're just like, I'm just trying to shoot these guys and now everything's just really slow. So it's just, yeah, unfortunately not a game that runs too well. I think even by PS2 standards, I love going back and playing me some PS2. I know you do as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and I feel like even by those standards, this game runs pretty poorly for a PS2 game.
Yeah, I mean, for me especially, I'm someone who doesn't usually even care about frame rates and stuff, and I'll grit my teeth through most things that run badly. But this stood out to me mainly just because of like just walking around, and it was such a what's the word, like tactile feeling I had when I was playing, and just you could just really feel when you sped up and slowed down, just moving around a level with Sean Connery, and I really didn't like it. So a shame, but nothing, it didn't stop me playing and finishing the game. It was just a bit of a bugbear throughout.
No. So can I talk about the PSP version?
Yes, I'd love to know how they changed it, if they did at all.
So this game came out originally November 2005, so quite late during the generation. The PSP version came out April 2006.
Oh, okay.
So they had about 6 months to kind of put this version out, and it's pretty different. So the big thing is that like a lot of the levels got cut. There are only 8 levels in the entire game. So like a good chunk, like every driving level is just gone. And then they don't really replace it with anything. So you get these like really hilarious moments where you finish a level and it shows a cutscene. Because so they show the cutscenes, but they just show them like a video version of the PS2 cutscenes.
Right.
So it's just like a compressed, overly white as well. It's like been white, like the white balancing's all off on it as well. So they just basically play a video of someone of the PS2 cutscenes. But you get like 4 of them in a row because they just cut out levels, but they still need to tell the story. So you'll have Bond being like, I'll make my own way there. And then normally there'll be a level, but instead you then just cut to Bond in a jetpack just flying away. And you're like, well, wait a minute. What happened there? So they just cut them all out, but there's like 2 times I can think of explicitly where they play multiple cutscenes in a row because they've got to tell the story, but the level that's supposed to go in between those cutscenes is completely missing.
Mm.
And then even the actual levels are cut down as well. They're like some of the levels are just shorter. So this game is like not that long.
I was going to say, yeah, it must be.
You could probably
really
beat it in
short.
like a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But an interesting thing about it is that it starts off quite difficult because the ammo balancing is just terrible again. So I died on the first level because I ran out of ammo.
Oh, no.
And then I just got killed. And I was like, oh, that sucks. So to beat that first level in London, I had to be really careful with my shots because you only have 2 weapons and they just don't give you enough ammo. So you have to be like really careful. So the first level actually became quite hard because if you miss too many shots, you're screwed. You just don't have enough bullets to complete it.
That actually sounds kind of good in a way, though. Like, actually makes you think.
I guess so, but it's still the same kind of systems with the Bond focus and things like that. So that was kind of interesting. I think something else that is interesting is that the upgrade system has been revamped in the PSP version. So there's no schematics.
Okay.
There's no research points. Instead, every time you do a disable of one of the enemies, you get the stars straight away, and that fills up a bar. And once that bar is filled up, you can then upgrade any of your equipment during the level itself.
Oh, wow. That's really different.
It's really different, yeah.
Wow,
So like,
that's weird.
I ended up just running up to save ammo and because you get the most amount of stars by meleeing someone or going up to them and like punching them. So I just found myself running up to them, punching them, getting extra stars, which saved me ammo and also filled up my bar a lot quicker. And it just meant like I was able to level up the stuff I wanted to quite quickly. So you could do stuff like, fill up your bar and then level up your armor halfway through a mission to refill your armor.
This is where you're going to say that you think the PSP version's better.
I can't bring myself to do
Okay.
that. It is like far too stripped back. And also the upgrade system has the same issue as on PS2, where halfway through the game it becomes completely irrelevant. Unless you care about upgrading every single gadget, you just have so many like points that I just stopped upgrading stuff. But also another nice thing about the upgrade system is that it actually upgrades the power of the weapon.
Okay.
So in the PS2 version, you can upgrade your clip, the firing speed, how much ammo you can carry, and how much special ammo you can carry.
That sounds right. Yeah.
But you did that individually based on what you wanted. On the PSP version, you just upgrade the weapon as a whole, and it upgrades your like firing speed, your power, so you do more damage, and then like your ammo as well. So it means like the assault rifle just kills like enemies in like 2 shots every single time.
So do they still have special ammo in the PSP version?
No, that's gone.
I see.
No special ammo.
I see.
So instead you level up your main weapons and then that becomes like basically special ammo. So it's like you're using special ammo for the game. So you just end up blasting through enemies, which I kind of did like a little bit more. But I can't say the PSP version is better. Again, it's too stripped back. There's too much that's been removed. It's too basic. Holding a PSP is not a fun thing to do. that is not something that's fair for me to criticize this game on, but like trying to awkwardly like hold L all the time to lock on and then R while also using the stick. Just my left hand really did not like playing this game at all. It was really awkward to do. I'm like, how did I ever do this back in the day? Because it was very uncomfortable to do. So I wouldn't really recommend it just on that like basis alone. That it's difficult to even hold a PSP nowadays.
Just see you in the hotel room getting frustrated. Oh, my hand. Oh.
It's like, ah, just so freaking out.
I'll just watch TV instead.
Yeah, just laugh along. But like, I don't know. Would I recommend the PSP version? Like, kind of no. I enjoyed playing it, but that's like the novelty of it. It was really cool to be playing a PSP in 2026 and to be controlling Sean Connery as himself in a James Bond game in a From Russia with Love game on a PSP. Like the novelty of it alone is enough for me to say like that's really cool, but I can't really say I enjoyed this version. Like it improves some things by like stripping it back, but it's just missing so much content and it's so awkward to control. It's just, yeah, again, not very good, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's kind of the that's how I've come to think of this now. Is like it's a bit of a shame actually because before doing this. And before replaying it now, I would have said to someone, "Oh yeah, From Russia with Love on the PS2. It's a really fun game. It's got Sean Connery. It's got all the references and it's got some cool cutscenes and stuff." But I think that probably, like what you were saying earlier, like the first hour or so, sure, that is definitely applicable. But after playing the whole game, my impression of this game definitely has dropped. And I think maybe just stick to those first few levels and don't get into the mess that is towards the end of this game, really. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, again, yeah, I agree. I mean, I was always kind of negative about this one. You know, growing up, this was that Bond game I just didn't touch because it was the end of this era where they just were churning them out. And then I went back to review it years later and I was just like, this just isn't very fun. This is just kind of tedious. And I think replaying it now, I was hoping to see a little bit more in it. And definitely, again, that first hour or two, like, I would recommend it for a Bond fan to play it just for the first hour or two. But when it comes to actually beating this game, it's so rushed, it's so not finished, it's so padded, it's so drawn out, it's so tedious, the mechanics are not very fun, it's so repetitive that I just can't say it's a good game. And I didn't want this episode to be like make this game a bit of a punching bag. But I feel like it's rated exactly how it was supposed to be rated. You know, it was getting 6 and 7s back then. It was kind of considered as not as good as the previous ones. And I still very much stand by that, or even more stand by that. This is not an everything or nothing. This is not a Nightfire. This is something where it's like, it's incredibly cool that it exists, but it was rushed out. It would have been amazing to see. I would love to see a Sean Connery game again. I would love to see it, but it just came out in the exact wrong era in a lot of ways and was shoved out the door. Just not enough time, very misguided, very all over the place. And it means where it's like, it's a really cool piece of Bond history. It's just not a very good game.
That's it, really. I think it's like what we said earlier. It's quite it's got a lot of novelty to it, so give it a chance for that reason alone. Just to see Desmond Llewellyn in a video game as Q.
That was lovely. That was lovely.
I like the whole little Q Lab bit, but yeah, in terms of an actual good game, maybe not. And then it's funny because like, was this was the last EA game, right? For Bond.
Yeah, well, this was it. This was it for EA.
And then it was Activision afterwards.
Yeah. This was. Let me take a look here. The next one was Quantum of Solace.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That would be one we'll need to play again, because that I have a very little memory of that.
Well, which version?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
DS. No.
Well, on that note, we do plan on playing some more Bond games. Hopefully some of these will be more positive.
I hope so.
Again, I think there's some good stuff here, but again, if you play through it and then judge us, okay? All right. But we will be playing through some more. If there's any that you guys would like to see in particular, do let us know. We are not going to be committing to playing every Bond game, but we want to do a few, a few of the more interesting ones. Just give some opinions and revisit them and see how we feel about it. So yeah, you guys let us know. if there's any in particular that you would like us to talk about.
And, you know, playing this From Russia with Love game and seeing Sean as a playable Bond, it was really cool. And it made me sad to think that there was no chance for good old Sir Rog to have the same treatment. May he rest in peace. But it's okay.
Hold on, let's think about this, really. So, in terms of which Bonds got a game, Sean Connery got a game.
Yeah.
I guess George Lazenby didn't. George. Roger Moore didn't.
No.
Timothy Dalton did.
Yes.
Pierce Brosnan did. And Daniel Craig did. So it's George Lazenby and Roger Moore are the only ones where you can't play as them in any video game.
It's okay though, don't worry, because modders have come to the rescue. The reason I bring this up, right? So if I was to ask you, Tom, let's say hypothetically they did make a game similar to this one, but it was for Roger Moore. Which film do you think they would do?
Well, I mean, it's boring, but it's got to be The Spy Who Loved Me.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got to be The Spy Who Loved Me. And guess what modders have done with GoldenEye 64? They've made The Spy Who Loved Me 64. So
wait, what?
It isn't out yet, but it did pop up on my YouTube earlier on today, and it does look pretty cool. So
wow,
someday soon we can play as Sir Rog in a video game.
Yeah. Well, there was that leak of GoldenEye where they originally had all the Bonds in as playable.
Yeah,
back in the day. So I guess we were almost there, and our modders have come to the rescue.
They always do.
Once again.
They always do.
So I guess, like, yeah, I would really like to see this attempted again. But I guess nowadays in the modern video game climate, it just kind of can't. But, I don't love Goldfinger as much as everyone else does. But a Goldfinger video game would just make so much sense.
There's a Goldfinger one too as well, by the way.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, never mind then.
Goldfinger 64. Look it up. You can play it.
Yeah. So now, you know what I'm like, Joe? I also would like to rank these games we talk about.
Of course, yeah.
Because I have a problem. So I'm going to be bold and say I think First Light is better than From Russia with Love.
I think you're right. Apart from the driving levels.
Apart from the driving levels, yes.
Yeah,
a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start.
So we separated really early, didn't we, when we did the films? I think it didn't take long for us to have different... I think Thunderball...
I mean, Goldfinger...
No, I think we agreed on Goldfinger, surely.
I was not a fan of Goldfinger.
Yeah, but I think I ranked Dr. No higher than Goldfinger. No, maybe I didn't.
Oh.
Well, I know it was Thunderball where we really separated.
Yeah.
So I wonder what game we're going to separate on. That's going to be interesting.
It'll be like the Timothy Dalton 1987 License to Kill on the Commodore, something or other.
Yes.
Terrible.
The Stealth Affair.
Yeah. Oh, God, no, that is actually really bad. Let's not do that one.